Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teriq Andalcio-O'Neil, a current university student, UB student, doing Spanish and marketing, and a current intern at Jabe Language Service Limited here in San Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago. And we are here today with the translation and AI expert himself, Jason Busby. Pleasure meeting you here today. He is uh, the founder and managing director of Java Language Service Limited. And we just want to have a conversation with him here today to see what he has to let us know about the translation industry and what he thinks is going to take place in the future and for his company as well and his journey throughout his translation experience. So, Jason, pleasure meeting you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teriq, for all the kind words. As I said, it is a pleasure having you as part of the Jabe team. It's a pleasure to have you working with us. I'm really happy to be able to contribute to this latest project of yours. So yeah, let's get started.
No problem. Thank you very much again. And we hope you all enjoy this video as well. And we just want to really have a conversation about what do you specifically do? Because people would want to know, okay, this is Jason Busby, founder, but we would want to like to know, okay, what do you specifically do when it comes to translation and who do you target and what services do you offer in this business, not only for the business, but what do you engage in and what is your story when it comes to getting into this big translation field that we see here today?
Wow, so that's a very wide ranging question. So what do I do? Let's start there. For close to 15 years, I have been working firstly or mainly as a freelance translator, specializing primarily in legal documentation, legal texts. So let's say contracts, that sort of documents, translating from French or Spanish into English. So that's what I've done for many years. Last year in February, I would have founded Jabe Language Services Limited. We are a language services provider, primarily focused on translation and translation services, so translating, proofreading, editing. But we are also the regional reseller of RWS Trados, which is the world's largest translation software provider. We have the authorization to sell their products and to promote their products throughout the Caribbean region. So that is, in a nutshell, what we do. How did I get started in translation? Well, that is a really, really long story. So to make that story short, I would have started my journey, let's call it, with translation all the way back in 2005 when I began my university studies in France. I was studying at the Université François Rabelais in Tours. And there, as part of our university studies, we had to do translation classes. So that was my first initiation into translation, let me say. It did not go that well, especially translating from English into French and English into Spanish, which I learned later is actually not what we're supposed to be doing in the professional sense of translation, but that was part of studies. So I started from back in my bachelor's. I would have continued during my I did my master's first in the Université François Rabelais, and I would have completed my master's in the Université de Poitiers. So while I was doing my master's, I would have spent a year's internship in a small translation agency in Rennes in France. And there I was exposed even more to the whole industry of translation and what it would take to be involved in translation. And that is where I would say that my passion for expressing languages through the field of translation was born.
Okay. Oh wow. That's a very wide ranging story in foreign countries and France and yeah. Spoke about going there, doing studies, working with countless countless experts in the translation field. And that's very wonderful to say the least. And when you were in your days in university, because you started off there, what are some of the things that you would have liked to know now, knowing that you have many years of experience in this industry? What are some key points that you would have wanted to know in your more youthful days that you should have been learned back in those times? What are some of those things that you would say to the aspiring translators coming up in the field?
Well, as I kind of referenced a little while ago, the very first thing that I would have loved to know with regards to translation then was that, as I mentioned, the fact of translating from a foreign language into your mother tongue. So in translation, we talk about a source language and a
Mm,
target language. The
mm,
source language is the language in which the original document is provided, and the target language is the language in which you translate into.
okay,
So in university, we would translate what we would call in both directions. So for example, I would translate from French into Spanish, from French into English,
okay,
and from English into French. However, professionally, you are only supposed to work into your native tongue. So I am only supposed to provide translations from French into English because I am a native English speaker.
okay.
So in university, it would have saved me a lot of poor grades if our teachers were to follow the traditional professional translation standards in terms of translating only into your native tongue. So that is one. Two, I would have definitely spent a lot more time paying attention when we were getting classes regarding the use of CAT tools.
Mm,
So a CAT tool, CAT stands for Computer Assisted Translation. Um, these were in existence for a very long time. As I mentioned, RWS Stratos is the leading CAT tool provider. They have been in existence for over 40 years now, so a very long time. But at that time, a lot of translators would still use, let's call it traditional methods of Word and PDF, a PDF source file and translate into a Word document. Some translators would still even use pen and paper.
mm,
So I did not spend as much time as I should have in terms of learning about CAT tools.
mm,
Although I was able to gain that knowledge through practical usage over the course of time, it would have served me even better then if I had started at a younger age learning how to use a CAT tool and how to use the many features of a CAT tool in order to make myself that much more productive as a translator.
mm. Okay, that's very, very interesting, really and truly, because you spoke about cat tools and you was also speaking about the many persons nowadays who don't really use them, and then we have people doing it manually. So we have this paradigm with manual work versus using the AI software, and then
Mm-hmm.
from what I'm gathering here is that the AI really allows us to be more effective, efficient with doing language and putting it from different languages from, let's say, Spanish to English. So what do you believe
Correct.
are are the more benefits? Because I have a understanding of it, but what do you say are the benefits of really investing in these types of software like Trados?
So that's an excellent question. And even before I answer that question, I think that is the right question to ask because working as a Trados reseller and having many conversations with people, language professionals throughout the Caribbean, I realized that the examples that I gave in terms of people who work with a source PDF document and a target Word document, although I thought that that was the common technology, let's
Mm,
say in 2005 or 2006, there are still a lot of people today in 2025 who still use source PDF and a
mm,
target Word document instead
mm,
of trying to use a CAT tool, instead of learning how to use a CAT tool. So the benefits of a CAT tool are endless,
mm,
endless. First of all, what I try to get to people, what I try to get people to understand is through the use of a CAT tool, how we describe it is that you should not have to translate any document from scratch. Meaning, the longer that you work, the longer that you use a CAT tool, the longer that you build your glossary, your term bases, your TM, the
mm,
more information that you would have stored in any particular language pair. So let's say you gave the example of Spanish into English. Let's use my specialized profession, which is the legal field. So over the course of time, having worked in the legal field, having performed translations from Spanish into English, I would have built up a glossary in terms of certain terminology, certain terms in Spanish. Now, this could be Spanish from Spain, this could be Spanish from Venezuela. So for each of these, you would have relevant terms, relevant definitions, and the corresponding translation. Now, in building up a glossary, what that allows me to do is that if I have a similar customer, whether it's from the same country or the same company that I would have done a job for, let's say it could be as far back as 10 years ago, and they give me a contract that needs to be translated that has similar terminology
mm,
as 10 years ago, I would be able to use my glossary and pre-populate certain segments of translation that I'm going to perform for them. In other words, words that I would have used in the past and the corresponding translations, I would be able to extract those, put them into the current translation so that I wouldn't have to translate those particular words or segments or sections again. So
okay.
that is
Yeah.
one of the first and I would say the most important benefits that could be gained from using a CAT tool in terms of leveraging a glossary so that you don't have to translate from scratch.
Okay, Robin, that's well said, really and truly. And what you were pointing out just now, because you're talking about different types of translations, because from my knowledge, there are many forms, let's say legal, medical, and all of these different type of translations that people want, and it's really in demand now because people think that translation isn't really in demand, but countries from not only in Trinidad but foreign countries are coming to get these services, and we really see these different times. But what do you think for the young persons coming up who want to be translation, who want to work in this field of languages? What do you think, or how do you think they should niche down? And well, first of all, should they niche down, or as of now, they should try to vary themselves in a wide range of translation forms, and then as they see fit, specialize, or so to
Okay,
speak. Yeah.
so that's a very good
Mm,
question. Specializing versus finding a niche.
mm,
To young translators, I would recommend the more knowledge that you gain, the better, for multiple reasons. One, you may not know as yet what field or fields may interest you. You
mm,
may think that, let's say, the legal field might be something you find interesting, but only later on realize that medical terminology or medical documents are more a passion of yours.
mm,
So the better thing I would recommend is to specialize in the earlier stages of your translation journey. Try to discover as many fields as possible before, as time goes by and you gain more experience and you gain a knowledge and understanding of what you may be more comfortable doing, finding a more specialized role for yourself. Now, another benefit of generalizing before specializing is it allows you to see market trends. So let me give an example. One of the current trends in terms of the whole translation sphere is subtitling.
Mm,
especially since the emergence of COVID-19. And through that, people having to stay indoors, certain platforms such as Netflix soared in popularity. And because people were at home all day having nothing to do and consuming content at such high rates,
mm,
people started to discover that there were television series, movies, etc., in various other countries, not
mm,
just English-speaking countries. So places like South Korea, I don't know if you ever heard of Squid Game, for example, like that
mm,
was really, really popular. And with that came equal increase, an equal surge in the demand for subtitling, which is a form of translation. So a subtitling genre is one that is hugely popular nowadays. And if you were studying, let's say in 2017, 2018, you may not have known then that subtitling would be as popular as it is now. So hence the reason it is good to be more general in your approach and to see what the market trends are, what is popular, before deciding what to specialize in, because you would want to specialize in a field that there's a demand for your services.
okay, okay. Thank you very much for that, really and truly, because
Mhm.
it's a predicament for I am pretty sure many persons coming up. They will want to know, okay, should I specialize in this? Should I spread spread my wings really and truly and to really dive deep, as you were saying, into many different forms, legal, medical, and it's very interesting to me how there are these many different forms and types with so many different type of intricacies and
Yes.
details in it. So it's very interesting to really say it. And we just wanna close it off here. And we just wanna say thank you very much, Jason,
No
for your
problem.
time being the founder and the managing director of Java Language Service Limited. It was a pleasure speaking to you today, and I hope everyone of you will grace with his words as we this is the first time we're doing it, but it will happen many more. Right?
Yes, and I want
So
to say, Teriq, thank you so much. You did an awesome job, and I'm looking forward to seeing much more from you in the months and years to come.
thank you very much, Jason. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good day.
All right. Bye everyone.